Buenas and half a day, everyone. Good afternoon. This virtual public hearing by the Committee on Air Transportation, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens is hereby called to order. Today is Friday, February 11th, 2022, and the time now is 3:02 p.m. For the record, and in accordance with open government law, notices for this hearing were sent on Friday, February 4th, 2022, and again on Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. In addition, this hearing was noticed on the Guam Legislature's website. Joining me for the hearing this afternoon are my colleagues, Senator Jim Moylan, Senator Tello Taitagui, and Senator Tony Atta. Siduous Masi colleagues for being here. Before we proceed with the discussion, I'd like to first provide some general rules of conduct for all who are in attendance. The conduct of this hearing shall be as follows. For participants using the Zoom conference platform, please abide by the rules of conduct and quality assurance standards. Turn on your video at all times and ensure that you are in a room with no interruptions and adequate lighting, specifically so we can see the participant's face. When speaking, please ensure that you are unmuted and that you are speaking into your microphone. Please remain muted until the chair calls upon you. The chair will call on individuals who are signed up to testify. Individuals testifying shall state their name before beginning with their testimony. Then we will open the panel to senators for questioning. Each member will be allowed to pose questions to the panel of people testifying and the nominee. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance and nature of the agenda. Personal inference as to the character or motive of any senator or any individual testifying is not permitted. Any violations of this general rule of conduct will result in removal from the meeting room. Thank you very much. Please remain muted until you are called upon to speak. We will now begin with our agenda. The appointment of Jesse G. Garcia to serve as member of the AB Wampat International Airport Board of Directors for the term length of 3 years, beginning July 6, 2020 to July 5th, 2023, to fill the unexpired term of Zenon E. Bellinger. The AB Wampat International Airport Authority Board of Directors is the body that supervises the operations and management of the airport. Through the GIAA Board of Directors, regulations and policies are discussed and subsequently enacted based on the discretion of the body. In addition to these duties, the body is also responsible in reviewing agreements with local and federal governments to seek funding. At this time, I'd like to call on individuals who have signed up to testify. When you are called upon, please unmute and state your name for the record.
Madam Chair, if I may, please, I'm trying to open the Google Drive for the packet of Mr. Garcia, and we're unable to open it. Is there any chance you can place it on the chat, please?
Okay, we will send it. If I can have my team, please send the Google Drive for today's hearing to the chat.
Siduous Masi.
You're welcome, Senator Taitagui. I don't see the chairman of the board of directors, Mr. Brian Bomba, here, but I'd like to state for the record that we did receive his testimony in support of the nomination of Mr. Garcia. We'll now move on to executive manager of the airport, Mr. John M. Kanata, former senator. Sir, please state your name for the record.
Thank you, ma'am. And my name is John M. Kanata. I'm the executive manager for the Guam International Airport Authority. Good afternoon, the Honorable Senator Amanda Shelton, the Honorable Senator Tony Atta, the Honorable Senator Joanne Brown, the Honorable Senator Tello Taitagui, the Honorable Senator Jim Moylan, and former First Lady Joanne Camacho. Thank you for being here today. Buenas and half a day, Madam Legislative Secretary and honorable members of the Committee on Air Transportation. I am proud to appear and testify before you today in support of the appointment of Mr. Jesse G. Garcia to the Board of Directors of the AB Wampat International Airport, Guam. As you may well know, former Director Zenon E. Bellinger tendered his resignation from our board, leaving a critical vacancy that I firmly believe can be best filled by Mr. Garcia. I am familiar with Jesse Garcia's impressive career path with both the government of Guam and in our private business sectors. He has held cabinet level positions and senior managerial positions in both, and has acquired a great reputation as someone with a can-do attitude and the go-to person to get the job done. I believe that Mr. Garcia, more commonly known as Jesse John, will be a compliment to our board composition, and it will be a great asset to us. Besides his expansive experience and impressive skill sets, he brings with him a wealth of knowledge in government planning, capital improvement, procurement, safety and law enforcement, and a keen understanding of working with federal government, namely the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Federal Highway Administration. He also has more of an in-depth understanding of the airport environment, having worked with Black Construction Corporation, who have just recently constructed the airport's new international arrivals corridor, and also with Johnson Controls, providing us with energy efficient solutions for our airport terminal. Your confirmation on this appointment of Mr. Jesse G. Garcia to the board of directors of the AB Wampat International Airport Authority is greatly appreciated. I am confident that he will continue to serve the people of Guam as he has over the years with dedication and hard work. Respectfully submitted today, Madam Honorable Senator, this day, 11th day of February 2022. Thank you, ma'am, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you.
Sidzuis Masi, Senator, thank you very much. I apologize that there are issues with the Google Drive, but please give us a moment to fix those issues. We will move on to the next testimony. I see other folks who are here today to testify. Begin with Mr. John Ryan. And I apologize, before you begin, Mr. Ryan, I'd also like to recognize Senator Joanne Brown, who joined us, and First Lady Joanne Camacho. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator, Chairwoman. Good afternoon, everyone in attendance, Senators, Director Kanata, and the nominee, of course. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jesse John Garcia for nearly 25 years, and I appear before you today to urge your recommendation to the entire body that he be confirmed a citizen member of the Guam Airport Board of Directors. He's been both a friend and a colleague, and I'm proud to have had the opportunity today to testify to his personal character and professional judgment. I was introduced to Jesse in 1999 when I became Director of Communications for the Office of the Governor. It was a challenging time for our island for many reasons. Some of those reasons were not necessary, but that history aside, the administration that we were in together successfully responded to the SARS epidemic, the 9/11 attacks, and numerous natural disasters. And each and every time, Jesse was critical to our success. He knew what resources the government had, how they could be most efficiently deployed, and he did so as directed. At the same time, he oversaw work crews with kindness and creativity, well aware that just like everyone else on our island, those government workers and their families were not spared from the impacts of the various local and international disasters that we were dealing with. Indeed, if I had to guess that any family did pay a price for Jesse's seemingly round-the-clock commitment to our island, my guess it would have been his own family. Jesse John has always demonstrated an unwavering commitment to serving the people of Guam, day in and day out, and not just in times of extraordinary need. As a former 30-year-plus employee of the government of Guam, including rising through the ranks of the civil service to hold appointed positions as the Director of Public Works and the Director of the Department of Parks and Recreation, Jesse's record is without question the embodiment of public service. Governors from both parties know that if something needs to get done, they can trust Jesse John to do the job. His is a record that has withstood the twin tests of politics and time. and it was accomplished because at all times he acted with honor, integrity, and distinction. The airport is Guam's front door to the world, and it is the first and last impression left on millions of leisure and business travelers. And it is a crucial partner, not only to the tourism industry, but as a port of entry for people and goods. And it makes it essential to the economic success of our island. We now live in an extraordinary time in history, once again, local and global. There is no other person more qualified than Jesse John Garcia to fill the current GIAA board vacancy. He has the background to prepare fair and just oversight of the airport and the experience and vision to develop short and long-term policies that will benefit our entire island. Upon taking his seat on the airport board, Jess will begin another chapter in a lengthy career of public service, one in which he will bring decades of knowledge, skills, judgment, and the right temperament that reflect a rare and genuine commitment to the service of the people of Guam. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ryan. First Lady Joanne Camacho.
Good afternoon, Senators. I really wasn't going to testify. I'm just here in support for my brother, but having heard just two testimonies, my brother's a committed person. He is a 24/7 man, not only for our family, but for the people of Guam. And I hope you'll give him the opportunity to serve our people in the capacity of a board member of the Guam Airport Authority, because he only brings good value and good work to the Airport Authority and really to the board. So in closing, I just want to ask you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, First Lady. Mr. Ricardo Dueñas.
Thank you, Senator Shelton. Good afternoon. My name is Ricardo C. Dueñas. Among my experience, I am a former chairman of the Guam International Airport Board of Directors. And today I would like to offer testimony in support of Jesse Garcia to sit as a member of the Board of Directors for the Guam International Airport. I've known Jesse for many years, more years than I can remember, both personally and on a professional level. What I've observed of Jesse is he has a deserved reputation as a can-do problem solver. When presented with situations or problems, I've observed him to go out there and personally assess the situation, marshal the appropriate resources to solve that problem, and follow up on the completion and reporting to the people who have put the request upon him. He has a lot of experience both in and outside the government. He has a lot of experience with managing contracts, managing construction projects, administration. He has in-depth knowledge of the workings of the government of Guam. And I feel that as a member of the Board of Directors, he will bring in an invaluable experience that will be useful as the airport moves forward with the numerous contracts that they have on their plate. So it is with great honor that I support Mr. Garcia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dueñas. Mr. Joseph W. Dueñas.
Okay. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and honorable members of the committee. For the record, my name is Joseph W. Dueñas, and I'm the Pacific Region Manager for an international consulting firm. I'm here to testify in support of Mr. Jesse Garcia to serve as a member of the GIAA Board of Directors. I have a long history working with Jesse, and I'd like to share my professional experience with you. I met Jesse back in 2004 when I was appointed the Director of Public Works. At the time, I had no idea who he was. I was a very young man, and I knew to be successful, I had to surround myself by people smarter than me. I was very close to Tommy Morrison's family, and I knew his father, Gene, had worked at DPW for many, many years before passing on. So I sought advice from his family. Tommy told me that his father respected a man there named Jesse Garcia. And he said Jesse was a manager who would jump on a trash truck and help guys if the trash was behind schedule. That's my kind of guy. Not knowing Jesse at the time, I did my research and found him working at Civil Defense with then Homeland Security Advisor Frank Blas Jr. I met with him. I asked him to come back to DPW and help us. Much to Senator Frank Jr.'s dismay, Jesse agreed. I remember Frank calling me up and saying, "You got to share him." And we did. This was right after Typhoon Pongsanhua, and Gov Guam needed people like Jesse everywhere. During my time at DPW with Jesse, we did a lot of good things. We purchased 69 new school buses, ending a school busing shortage. We went to town meetings together and cited the current landfill. We reconstructed Adloop and Government House after they were destroyed by the typhoon. And we worked with the governor's office in GIAA on the municipal lease program that built 5 new public schools. I bring this up because I owe my success to Jesse. He's always been the quiet guy in the background doing the real work while everyone else is up front getting credit. A few years later, I became the governor's chief of staff. And whenever issues came up that needed someone to execute operationally, we always called on Jesse. With Jesse's institutional knowledge of government and large network, he was and still is the very best person I know of that can navigate through GovGuam bureaucracy quickly. I don't remember what the issue was, but during my tenure at Adloop, the Chamorro Land Trust had some major issues that were hitting the media daily. We sent Jesse Garcia in as the director, and he did what great leaders do. He fixed the challenges, and everything went quiet after that. After my time with government, I went to work for Johnson Controls, a Fortune 100 company that installed energy solutions at the Department of Defense, the government, and the private sector installations. When it came time to execute a $20 million project, I needed to find and hire the best people that could do the job right. So I called up Jesse Garcia. He had retired, so I asked him to come work for us, and he came out of retirement to help. The project was a success. When our corporate executives flew in from Milwaukee, they loved Jesse. I learned during this time that Jesse also had a gift for entertaining off-island guests. So I always had Jesse take care of all our VIPs. After my time with Jesse at Johnson Controls, I returned back to government and served as the Lieutenant Governor's Chief of Staff. For those of you who have worked up in Adloop, you know there's always a need to identify good leaders to fill cabinet vacancies when the time arises. At one such moment, I remember calling Jesse up to see if he would be interested. At the time, he was working for Leonard Kai at Black Construction, and he told me he'd get back to me. About 2 days later, Leonard called me up to go to breakfast. Had a great conversation throughout the meal, but in the end, he looked me in the eye and he said, "Joe, Jesse is important to me." I got the message. Leonard was telling me to buzz off. He knew what I knew. Jesse is an incredible asset who makes organizations successful. So that's been my professional experience with Jesse. I bring this up because in my 25 years of business and public administration, I've met a lot of managers and leaders. Many arrived to the top because of politics. Others arrived there because of merit and because they are doers. The doers are the most effective leaders. Jesse is a doer. During my professional career, I will say with confidence, Jesse Garcia is one of the very best people I have ever worked with. He is the person I would call at 3 a.m. in a crisis. If you know Jesse, one of the things he always asks you before he leaves is, "Let me know if you need anything." He means this. The reason why Jesse has such a vast network of people standing by to help him is because he's helped so many people. Jesse's going to bring a lot to the GIAA board, and he's a subject matter expert in government operations, construction, and capital improvement. He has an excellent network that will help the airport get things done. He has one of the strongest work ethics I've ever seen in my career. He has integrity, and he gets things done right. As many of you senators know, public service is not glamour and glitz that most people think it is. It's a burden and often a thankless job, the price of leadership. Jesse knows this. So when someone with all the gifts of Jesse Garcia steps up and offers themselves to the public again, you grab them and you confirm them before they change their mind. In closing, I ask that you support Governor Lulian Guerrero's excellent choice of Jesse Garcia to serve on the airport board. He brings incredible value to the airport and the people of Guam. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dueñas. If there's anyone at this time who'd like to testify for Mr. Garcia, please turn on your camera. Okay, thank you very much. I'll now recognize Mr. Jesse Garcia.
Good afternoon. Company Committee Chairwoman Senator Amanda Shelton, members of the Committee on Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens, and all other senators present. My name is Jesse G. Garcia. I'm here to speak on behalf of my nomination of ABU Guam Pan International Airport Board of Directors. I would first like to express my sincerest appreciation to Governor Lulian Guerrero for having the confidence in me to submit my appointment. As I want to thank Senator Shelton for scheduling the public hearing, for allowing me to testify on behalf on the esteemed committee. The GIAA Airport Authority is a very important gateway to Guam's economic survival, and its management team must be condemned for keeping operations afloat during this worldwide economic pandemic, the COVID. I am confident that my experience in both public and private sectors would be great value to the GIAA, especially with the management experience of various agencies to include Public Works, Department of Land Management, Chamorro Land Trust Commission, Guam Homeland Security, and the Guam Police Department. The security of the airport is also an area that I can add value, as I have been a police reserve officer since 1984, with training in the field of police special operations, training in high-risk situations, and tactical skills. I'm currently holding a position in Black Construction as a project manager. I have worked from 2013 to 2019 with a responsibility to help with the government and government permits. Prior to that, I was appointed by Governor Lulian Guerrero to be the Deputy Director of the Department of Public Works, as I worked with Federal Highway Administration and other divisions at Public Works. With the onset of the COVID-19, I was also involved in the governor's executive COVID response team to respond to the pandemic, to include the logistics tied to the establishment of emergency quarantine shelters, establish emergency response centers for GMH, Public Health, DOE, DOC, GRMC, and other government agencies, food distribution island-wide, transportation of quarantine and isolation individuals, identifying the establishment of non-congregate homeless shelters, and all other duties as assigned. Senators, I believe all of this has given me the ability to, and the knowledge to truly be of service to the GIAA Board of Directors. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Mr. Garcia, for your testimony, and to the panel today who has been here to show support for your nomination to the airport's Board of Directors. I think you've shown from your many years of government experience and in the private sector that you have what it takes to sit on this board that we know will ask a lot from you, and to will take up a lot of your time, and we're thankful for your willingness to answer this call to serve. I'd like to open up the floor to my colleagues now to ask any questions that they may have of you or anyone on the panel. I'd like to also recognize Senator Sabina Perez for joining us today. We'll begin with Senator Tony Atta.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And for the record, Madam Chair, the nominee, Mr. Jesse John Garcia, is a relative of mine. Our grandmothers are sisters, but I have no conflict of interest for voting for him because I know that he is a person that can do the job that he has been nominated to. Mr. Garcia, Jesse John, thank you for accepting the nomination for Governor Lulian Guerrero to sit on the board of directors at the Guam Airport Authority. I think your vast knowledge and experience, both in government and the private sector, will be a valuable tool that the airport board will have at their disposal. I mean, I've seen you all over the place, and from being a police officer to DPW, Public Works, Parks and Rec. It's just amazing what you can do with the resources at your disposal. And I hope that you'll be able to take that and use it at the airport, because I know there are perhaps some areas in the airport that could use beefing up, that, a new fresh set of eyes that comes in can actually see where we're lacking or what can be done to improve the situations. But whatever it is, you have my full support, you have my vote. And I look forward to, Madam Chair, you moving this confirmation onto our upcoming session for confirmation. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator Atta. Senator Taitigui.
Sijus Masi, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to give comments. And I don't know about you, Jesse, but when Joe Duenas was reading his testimony, I don't know how you held back your tears, because that was an amazing testimony. Everything that he mentioned in there was just more than exceptional. It goes deep to the heart, and it actually confirms my feelings toward you as a very humble individual. And when I look at former First Lady Joanne Camacho here, it reminds me of the song Wind Beneath My Wings, because you have been in the shadow of others in your family, and to people don't really know all the great things you've done. I know that in my life being in government, whenever I called for any kind of information at DPW, you always took my call. You always answered my question, regardless. And I greatly appreciate that, Jesse. I think you'll do a great job, because not only myself, but other people I've talked to about you, especially coming up for this confirmation. And by the way, thank you for the phone call as well. That you are an honest individual. I mean, Joe hit it on the head when he mentioned that part of his testimony. I don't know about you, but Joe had me in tears, reading that testimony. You're going to do a great job. It's a new journey. And the port is a very important agency. There are issues regarding the contracts, airport contracts. That's going to be could be very controversial. But I'm hoping that you'll look at that and do what you've been doing all your life, and that is being honest and fair, and not turning a blind eye. So
Yes.
Congratulations, Jesse, on your nomination, and you have my support. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator Taitigui. Senator Moylan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Jesse, congratulations on your nomination. You have a great panel of support here to include your own sister. Not many people can get that, so good for you. I'm looking forward to this moving up to session floor so I can hurry up and vote so you can do the good work that everybody's looking forward and what you can do. Thank you for accepting the nomination, and congratulations. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Moylan. Senator Brown.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I think all of us probably have known Jesse John for many years. I had the opportunity to work with his mom, my first term in the Guam legislature. With all these accolades, Jesse John, I think you probably should run for a higher office. I think Guam would be in a better place with all the skill sets that you genuinely have brought to the table in all the work that you do. And I think that's a very good way of putting it. A lot of people put facades up and they play up to people thinking that that's somehow going to get them where they need to go. And you genuinely have always just worked very hard in all that you do. And you've always been very upfront. You've always been there to help when the need was there. And you just get in there and get the job done. And certainly as it was relayed, I mean, if there's things that needed to get done, it could be times of emergency or whatever the case may be, you were the guy to call, regardless of whether it was a Republican or Democratic administration. And I myself certainly had the opportunity to work with you when you were also juggling two hats, being the Director of Public Works and then also being the Administrator of Chamorro Land Trust when I was up at the University of Guam when we were doing some additional work for the Chamorro Land Trust. So, I have first-time opportunity and knowledge in having worked with you, and there's no doubt, I mean, collectively, we have confidence in who and what you are. I think we wish we could replicate you. That would be a tremendous benefit further to the community. And we don't say that often about many people because many people are not who you are and what you've represented and all the work that you've done and all the work that you've contributed to your community. I have to tell you, one time not too long after you retired, because certainly you were the very first person to tell me I was going to be the next Director of Public Works when you were the outgoing Director of Public Works. And I told you, get out of town. I have no interest or plans to be the director. And sure enough, I ended up being the director. But I just recall talking to your mom and how very proud she was of you. The work that you did, the work that you accomplished right after your retirement. It's very touching, very heartwarming, a lot of pride. And even though you're not the most visible member of your family that's maybe known to the general public, it was quite a conversation to see and hear her talk about you and how proud she was of you. And I'm sure she relayed that to you. But for me to hear that, the pride of a mother, and, I know you just recently lost your mom. But, just know that you're loved, Jesse, and you're appreciated in this community. And certainly I do no doubt you're going to do wonderful things at the Guam Airport Authority as you've done with everything else that you've done in your life. And so we wish you well in this accomplishment. We look forward to your continued contribution. And thank you for wanting to step up to the plate in taking this position at the Guam Airport Board. Not everyone has the opportunity in their lifetime. Normally, it's said in a eulogy at someone's funeral. And that person never gets to hear who and what and how they're thought about. And, we're all human, we're all imperfect people, but there's some that exceptionally do stand out with who they are. Certainly the work that you do in the reserves, and you've been doing that for many years. I mean, gosh, since 1984, that's to be complimented, especially such a hard job it is even to do that as a regular police officer, but to do all that you do and then still continue to support your community in that capacity is definitely impressive. And I'll tell you, nobody else has to come up and speak for you, Jesse John. You and in of yourself, who you are, what you've accomplished is appreciated. And certainly without doubt, no doubt, you're going to have the unanimous support of this legislature confirm you to the Airport Authority. So with that, thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity to comment on Jesse John Garcia's nomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Brown. Senator Perez.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Jesse, for stepping up to the plate. All these glowing accolades, I think really reflects the service that you've dedicated your life to from the Department of Public Works and other areas in the government. And so we're really thankful that you, even despite that you are working, you have another job, that you're willing to continue this service to the government. And so we do appreciate your continued dedication to the government. And we look forward to whatever contributions you can make on the board. So it's Duasmasi.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Senator Perez. And thank you to all my colleagues for the questions, and again to the panel for being here, especially to the appointee, Mr. Jesse Garcia, for the position of member of the AB Wampat International Airport Authority Board of Directors. With no other questions from my colleagues, this appointment has been duly heard. The time now is 3:35 p.m. And if there is anyone who still wishes to submit testimony in support of this confirmation, they can submit their testimony to Office of Senator Shelton at guamlegislature.org or via Dropbox at the Guam Congress Building, 163 Chalan Santo Papa, Hagåtña, Guam, until the close of business next Friday. Thank you very much, everyone, and this hearing is adjourned. Take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.